Well, hey everybody, welcome back to my channel for another game of Star Realms. I'm going to try to play online, and you can ignore that. I totally didn't just play a game and forget to press record, because I would never, ever do such a horrible, unprofessional, amateurish, noobish, any other insults I can think of thing. No, that would not happen. So I'm going to try to start another game and see how this goes. And we have a game. They get to go first. I will turn on the camera in readiness. Ready to jump right in here as soon as they take their turn. Are they going to take it? They're going to take the turn? Are they going to? Black Rowan. I am going to attempt to beat you in Star Realms. That is what I am going to do. Let's play a game. It is a 3-minute game, and it is now my turn. They took a blob fighter and a blob fighter. They are going for quick. Boy, why do I always do that? Pick up the wrong one. Pick the wrong one. Not pick up. I don't really pick them up. I just look at them. Blob fighter, blob fighter. Draw a card, draw a card. That was my secret to success in the last game. I really enjoyed having those. So I'm going to play all of my cards, and what do I want to do to defeat such a strategy? Well, a cutter certainly would not hurt. Some healing. Oh boy, that's a difficult call. I think I am going to go for the Imperial Frigate. It is a very nice card, makes them discard, which is great both early if it keeps them off the card they want, and late if it makes them discard something they really like. And I have no combat, so I can just end my turn right away, and I can wait to see what we have. We have a bunch of scouts, and they're picking up some more blob stuff. That is not a surprise. I would love to steal that carrier from them, because holy moly, they have 3 blobs already, although they're probably going to ditch the wheel pretty quickly. But they do like having that as a backup to get that draw if their 2 blob fighters get separated. I, on the other hand, have a whopping 3, and now I have to choose survey ship or explore. I would like to get to some of this expensive stuff before they do, which leans towards explore, but I also wouldn't mind having a yellow to faction with my yellow, because then I can pick up 2 extra damage. Then again, I might use this for the draw card ability fairly early on, and I don't think the survey ship helps them as much, and since it's one of the few cheap things up there, I think I'm going to leave that and take an explorer for myself instead, which means I have to waste 1 purchase power or gold or trade or however you want to refer to it. It's just a little yellow circle around a number, but we all know what it does by now. And we can see that I'm going to have 6, which is enough to pick up either the port of call or the blob carrier. Again, I'm probably going to go for the carrier because it would be nice to get a decent chunk of damage in my deck, and it would also be nice to deny them something that fits so well into their deck. Of course, that assumes that my opponent does not pick it up first, but they have very little trade. They have to get their blob wheel out and scrap it. Basically, it comes down to, do they get their blob wheel out and scrap it to pick up the blob carrier, or do they not? I can pretty much guarantee that at this point that that's how that would go. They would get at most 4 scouts, plus that is 7. So not enough to pick up the blob world. So that is what they are probably thinking. I might end up getting the port of call. I don't know if I particularly super want that card, but hey. And they did not get quite enough. They would have had 5. So that was probably a disappointing call for them. I'm going to play all my guys out and get my 6. And what do I see here? I see, yeah, I really would not mind a supply bot, but now that they have the blob wheel in play, they are definitely going to use it next turn, so I will steal that away. I'm probably giving them a couple of scrap here. Boy, do I want to keep my deck a little bit lighter? Yeah, I think I do, and I'll pick up another one later if I need to. I think I might do that to their face. Yes, I don't mind if they keep that. It's just 1 damage. I don't want to cycle it and wait for later. I'd rather they pick up something earlier when it's not something I think they'll really be using as well. Of course, if this gets them exactly to 8 or maybe even to 9 for that blob world, I'll probably regret that decision, but I don't think they're going to get quite there. And it just occurred to me that's going to increase the chances that they trigger faction on their blob fighters. I'm hoping they have both of their blob fighters in their hand, which means I could have known that. I didn't, but I could have, I swear. And if that's the case, it was going to faction those draws anyway, and it's no big loss to leave their blob wheel out. It didn't make the difference. If they have one of their blob fighters and they get the draw that they would not have got, then I'm going to feel not so great about it. But hey, it's a little bit late to change my mind on that now. So at least it's a learning point, a point of learning, a learning thingy. There's a word I'm trying to think of. A lesson. Uh-oh. Are they having trouble playing? Or nope. Nope, there they go. Draw one, draw one. Ah, shoot. Okay, that was what I was afraid of. It made the difference for them getting that draw trigger. Which means I should have probably taken out the blob wheel. But what are you going to do? They didn't have anything they really liked. So I'm going to play all these guys. What do I want to pick up? I think with 4, bases would not be bad, but I'd rather have outposts to guarantee a little bit of defense at this point. So instead, I'm going to pick up a trade bot. And I'm going to pick up a supply bot. Why not both? Right, Zoidberg? Right. Do the 1 point of damage to the head. And what am I going to get on my next turn here? I'm going to get one of these guys so I can do a single scrap so I can get 2, 3, 4, or 5. I will probably go for the patrol mech at 4 if it is still available. I might just go 2 explorers if it's not. I don't think they were trying to go for a quick deck, and blue probably works the least with that. These outposts are not horrible for buying them some time, but if they don't want to pivot to a longer game soon, they're not going to want them, and they're going to keep trying for a little bit more oomph. They're probably trying to get up to that blob world, which, with the amount of trade in their deck so far, is a very, very small chance. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Yeah, they're just, they're going to have to draw all trade and then use that with the blob wheel, which, again, that's probably what they're going for. Okay, so they got those draws and they got a bunch of trade. What did they even pick up? I didn't see. What did they pick up? Oh, they picked up the defense center. Curious. Maybe they are going to try and pivot now. 2, 3, 4, 5 is not enough for the battle cruiser, which is definitely a card I would not mind having myself. So I will scrap out a scout since I'm not using this all for purchase. And 2, 3, 4. There we go. And like I said, I'm going to pull the patrol mech. And a measly 1 point. Now the battle pod comes up, which works well with their deck, although they're still trying to go for that blob world, I'm guessing. So it might stay for a turn if they get to that, or if they get to 6, they might decide that the battle cruiser is good enough. It still draws, which increases their chance of getting those blob fighters out. Factions to make me discard, but I don't believe they have a lot, if any. Oh, they do have 2 yellows now, don't they? So yeah, if they can only get to the battle cruiser, that's a very good consolation for them, even though it means they probably can never see the blob world without seriously changing which way their deck goes, and they probably don't want to do that because I have a little bit more of the long game in my favor, although neither one of us has really gotten what we wanted to out of these. I do have several scrappers though, so they probably don't want to push for a long game, mostly for that. So we see a draw ones, and we see a decent amount of trades, and oh, they are pivoting hard to blue. That is a little bit surprising to me. Let's see, what can I get? I can get, make them discard. I can do this. What am I gonna pull if I pull another one? Oh, do I want to draw or not want to draw? I have a tough call here, don't I? 1, 2, 3 more will be 5 trade. I think I might pick up... 5 trade. I want to pick up one more trade. It'll be disappointing if it's the trade bot because I'll have to keep it to get the battle cruiser. But I'm going to go ahead and do it anyway. And that is not what I was thinking was going to come up. But 7 combat is not horrible. Now I get 5. I think I will take that, which is their cheapy option away from them. And I would think I will take that. And this time I will get rid of their blob wheel. Because they have a decent amount left, and it means they won't see it for a little bit. And now, of course, I see a trade bot coming out when I have no discard pile, because that is how things go for me. Although it's probably a matter of when I buy them for timing as much as anything else. But, you know, you buy them when they show up. And when there isn't something else you need to buy more. And, of course, when you can afford them, that also helps. Should I check for... Oh, nope. I was just going to ask if I should check to reconnect because it was taking a bit of time. I have got to discard a card. Well, what do you know? I was going to get rid of a scout anyway, so... Bye-bye, scout. It was nice knowing ya. No, it really wasn't. I mean, yeah, couldn't have bought anything ever if I didn't have any scouts. If I didn't have any scouts to start with. Although, you know, you could just give me explorers to start instead. I mean, I could live with that. 11, and these are... this is going to go separately from these guys, which means I am okay picking up an explorer. And 1 point is not a lot of damage, but it will do. And then we do another shuffle. And that is too bad. I really wanted to see the patrol mech come out with my supply bot so that I could get 2 scraps, but it did not happen. And so it will not. I could get 3, 4, 5, which, I mean, the recycling station would not be horrible for me, but I'm guessing they're probably going to pick that up this turn unless they can get to the 6 for battle cruiser. And what are they copying? Oh, that sucks to copy something that sucks. They did get the battle cruiser though, so a little bit worried on my part. That is pooey. That is pooey, and I don't get to faction that guy either. A little bit disappointing that I couldn't faction either one. Do I want to go for a recycling station? It would let me scrap faster, and that might make a difference. But it just feels so late in the game to be doing that. It really does. 5 damage. Boy. Yeah, when I don't have a compelling reason to choose one way or the other, I'm going to go damage. That's what I'm going to do. And, yeah, I think I will. Do that. You know what? I want to see my scrappers soon, so... No, I'm just going to ignore this. I have a decent enough amount of trade in there. I think I can pick up some good stuff. And look at this turn. It's going to be 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 trade. And it's going to be a scrap out of here. I don't have any draws, but I'm still going to be careful about the order just for habits. And I will have a whopping 4 points of damage. That's not particularly great, but the 7 trade is nice. It means I can pick up a battle blob if they don't pick it up first, which if they get both their Federation shuttle and their Explorer, they might do. They definitely would have if I'd have kept their base around, so that would have made that difference. But as it is, I do have a decent shot. So we'll see what they pull, and they pull 5 trade, which is not quite enough for the battle blob. That is what I wanted to see. That is definitely what I wanted to see. Scrap a card in the trade row. What do I think my odds are of getting to 8 before them? What do we have here? I have a couple of cards that'll scrap, and I have a blob carrier. Alright, I want to scrap a scout out of here. That thins that down a little bit. And, boy. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to pick up the battle blob, and then I'm going to see if there's something I want to scrap out. Central office. I'm a little bit worried if they get that, so I'm going to scrap the central office out. It's not something I likely want to pick up. And we get an embassy out there, so I don't think they have a super large amount of bases. They have a decent amount of bases. So let's scrap this guy out so I can do that and do a point of damage over here. And let's call that a turn, shall we? Man, that is disappointing. Disappointing again. My greens are once again broken up. I am never going to get that draw. That is going to be a big factor in this game, I do believe. Never factioning that draw. But on the other hand, I will get 8 damage this turn. So that is not bad. It would not be a bad time for them to get out one of their nicer bases. Maybe their recycling station. If I could take that out the first turn and still do a decent amount of damage to them, that would not be horrible. They'll still have 11 cards in their deck, so they might not even see it again this game. If they do, it'll be a little while. Although, I'm kind of pivoting a little harder on the damage and trying to scrap out everything that's not. So, what did we have there? I did not catch at all what they picked up. What did they pick up here? Was that? Oh, that was the embassy yacht that just came up. Yeah, okay, that's not too bad. Alrighty, I can only get 4 trade though, which is not particularly great for me. It is not particularly great for me. 4. I've got enough blobs now. I'm thinking this, and I hope nothing great comes up that they really want. And that's not horrible. That's not horrible. Do I think I'm going to see that particular blob again? Oh, that's a hard call. I think I'm going to see it once more. I'm gambling that I'm going to see it once more, so I'm not scrapping it out quite yet. And now I will have a couple scraps. I have a lot of scouts in my discard pile, which means I can scrap 2 of them this turn. And I'm probably not going to try and buy anything. I mean, the hive's not bad, but at this point in the game, with their 20, I am going to pick up 1, 2, 3, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, and once again, not factioning my greens. My greens just like to take their time and pace themselves and not all rush out there at once. Fine, guys, I guess I can understand. It'd just be nice if you hung out together once during the game, but anyway, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 damage when they have 20 left is not horrible. That means I have a good shot at finishing them the turn after my next, although they are going to pull some bases out here. So it's a little worrisome, but then I have some decent damage coming up. Again, my reds are split up too, my greens are split up. It's going a little bit slower than I'd like it to, folks. It really is. I tried to pivot for a little bit more speed. Speed just does not want to happen this game. My opponent had to pivot off of speed, which was their very early decision. Good decision, considering what was up there. I would have probably done the same thing. But just, there was no follow-up for, oh, and they get a draw, and oh man, this is just, that's a great turn for them. I did not particularly like that turn. What do you know? Alrighty, let's do some scrapping, shall we? Scrap some scouts. Scrap, let's pick the damage, and let's scrap another scout, shall we? Thank you very much. I don't mind if I do. Scrap a card in the trade row. Bye. What do I not want them getting? I think the Port of Call is probably the toughest one for me to deal with that I have no interest in. Yeah. Oh boy. Can't pick up anything particularly exciting. Boy, they really did get up there in that though, didn't they? 2 healing is just a little bit too much, so I'm going to do 4 to that. I'm going to leave that out because it's late enough. I'm not really concerned about them purchasing with it right now. I don't care. I really don't. I don't particularly want a trading post in my deck. If I had one more, I would love to pick up a Blob Destroyer and add it to the mix. But I don't, so that's all I can do. And then on my next turn, I have everything still in my discard pile, so I can scrap from there. Assuming, oh, I don't know what they have, but they're probably going to get something decent here. They're probably going to Recycling Station and find that their Imperial Fighter is the best thing, so I'm going to have to discard 2 cards. That is disappointing. I'm going to have to discard a Viper and an Explorer, almost certainly. Assuming that they pick up both of these, which they're probably going to pick up the Recycling Station or they're going to pick up both of those by themselves. Again, something I could have seen if I'd have been paying attention to what they have. I just can't memorize things that well. I'm never going to be top level if I can't, but that's just how it is. This has been an incredibly long wait. You might not see how long it is. I probably cut out a lot of this. I may even cut out some of the parts where I checked, but I've checked twice now to see if I'm dead because it's been that long of a wait. And I'm afraid that means I probably actually won, but it could have just meant a really complicated turn to kill me. It's such a gamble, but I know that I hit this button. I know if I hit that button, I am opening Schrodinger's box, and I don't know if I want to see what happened to the cat here. Yeah, kitty. And there you go. I won. I timed out my opponent timed out most likely. That is very disappointing. That always does suck. I don't know if they got disheartened or if they got busy or what happened. It was such a close game. I was really looking forward to seeing what happened because I could not get them down this turn. I don't know what they would have drawn, but if they drew this, they got an extra draw. They may have seen that they had all Scouts and Explorer and decided, there's no way I can live this next turn. I'm just going to walk away. Or maybe, you know, real life intervened and turned out a 3-minute game was not the way to go. That does happen though. That is part of Star Realms, especially on those 3-minute matches. As much as I would have loved to have seen how that went, it was a very interesting study in how you have to pivot. Both my opponent and I had to pivot quite a bit. In the beginning, my opponent started going fairly aggressive because that's what was in the trade row, but there was very little follow-up, nothing that really worked with it, even though, you know, 2 blob fighters off the bat, draw a card, do some damage, go in swinging. Nothing that really paired with it well. I, on the other hand, was going for a little bit heavier in blue, get some healing and some trade building up, and that just didn't pan out for me. And so we both ended up on the opposite sides of the fence there, with my opponent picking up some bases and with me going more aggressive and trying to scrap down my deck. And there you have it. That is another week of Star Realms. I hope you guys enjoyed it, even if we didn't get to see quite the ending we wanted. But hey, a win is a win. I gotta tell myself that. And there is always next week. So I hope I see you guys there. Please leave those likes and subscribe if you haven't yet. I know every single YouTuber does this, but it really does mean a lot to our channels. It really does mean a lot. And feel free to say hi down there. Say some things. I'll talk back. We'll have a good time. And I'll see you next week.